All right, it looks like we're at 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna go in and mute everyone, and then we'll get started. Okay, you guys are all set. All right, so welcome, happy Thursday. Great to see you guys virtually again. Let's get started lying down. Like I always like to have us start in that position that feels comfortable for you, lying on your mat. And just kind of start to settle into that familiar feeling. You've been on your mat before, maybe many, many times. So start to notice how it feels this time. Start to notice maybe what mindset and what kind of baggage you're carrying with you onto your mat today, and what might help you through your practice and what's not going to help you. What do you need to let go of? So just sort of noticing how you're feeling. Maybe that's a tension in your shoulders or your jaw. Maybe it's a thought in your mind. You're preoccupied by something. Just start to become really aware of all of those little things. And as you're tuning into everything that's going on right now, start to allow everything else to kind of get tuned out, get a little blurry, get a little distant, a little foggy. So kind of like you're creating this nice little bubble around your mat, and everything that's on the outside of the bubble can kind of wait until later. So whatever you've got going on later today, put that aside. Whatever you were doing earlier today, let it go. Just let yourself enjoy your little bubble for the next hour. So while you're here, before we start moving, start to deepen the breath. So bringing your awareness to each inhale, following the breath as it comes in through the nose, into the lungs, the chest, the stomach expands. And then as you exhale, reverse the direction, press that breath back out. Try to make it really slow. Be creating a count with it. So counting to 4 as you inhale, and then counting to 4 as you exhale. And noticing a peacefulness that starts to come over you just by breathing. All of a sudden a calmness kind of sets in. Things start to slow down a little bit. It's really why we come to our mats. We come to our mats to remind ourselves to breathe. All the stretching and everything else is bonus, but it's really all about that breath. So go ahead and take a couple more breaths here. And then before we start to move, you can set an intention for your practice. So thinking about what it is that you're going to focus your attention on today. And that could have to do with whatever you noticed coming up at the beginning of class. Maybe you noticed you need to relax, or you need to breathe, or you need to let something go. Patience, peace, any of these things can be your intention. Maybe you have something else in mind. Taking about one more breath here in the stillness. And then on the next inhale, we'll find a full body stretch by reaching the arms overhead, taking your time to get yourself there. So slowly reaching the arms overhead, slowly starting to extend the legs long if they weren't already. You can start to roll out the ankles, roll out the wrists, the fingers, the toes, moving in whatever way feels good for you. And just take a couple breaths here, maybe a little side to side stretch. Then on the next inhale, we're going to draw the right knee in towards the body, interlacing your hands on top of your shin. Just start to draw the right knee down towards the knee, almost like you're kind of, like I said, trying to bring that right knee towards the knee. But not even moving for a moment, but just hugging that leg in towards you. It creates a nice little massage for your internal organs. Kind of stretches and massages all those muscles and organs on the inside. You can flex through the right foot. And then let's start to take it into a twist. So the right leg is going to start to come over to the left side of the body. That right knee can stay bent. Try to press that right shoulder down. And then just breathing into this twist. Allowing the spine to twist as much as it feels comfortable. And that might mean that your knee is not on the mat. It might mean your shoulder's not on the mat. That's okay. Just allow yourself to start to settle into that twist. Then on the next inhale, we're going to bring that right knee back through center. This time, go ahead and extend that right leg up towards the ceiling, interlacing your hands behind the thigh or the shin, giving the back of the leg a little massage. And then really doing anything that feels good here. So that could be bending and straightening the knee, could be rolling out the ankle, or even walking the hands up the leg and kind of lifting your head up off the mat towards the knee. Whatever helps stretch out the back of that leg. And then slowly letting that right leg come back down onto the mat. We'll draw the left knee in towards the body, interlacing your arms around that left shin, and just hug the knee in towards you a couple times. Or a couple breaths, I should say. And then again, we'll start to find that twist. The left leg is going to come over to the right side of the body. Take a breath as you exhale. Allow the spine to twist into the pose. And then slowly starting to draw that left knee back through center. Extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your hands behind the thigh. Same thing as you did on the other side. Massage that leg, bend and straighten the knee. Whatever feels comfortable, go ahead and do that. Whatever helps that leg start to stretch, start to warm up. And then gently placing that left foot back on the mat next to the right leg. Let's draw both knees in towards us now. Interlace your hands behind your thighs and then just start to make a couple little circles with the knees. You can go side to side or in a circular movement. You can kind of move the knees together or maybe in opposite directions, whatever feels best for you. And then we'll start to roll all the way up to a seated position. So go ahead and take a couple rocks forwards and backwards until you make your way up to a seat on your mat, finding a nice cross-legged shape, sitting on a pillow or a blanket if that feels comfortable. Take a deep breath in as you sit up. Exhale. Let the shoulders relax a little bit. Feel that spine getting a little taller. And then on the next inhale, we're going to reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, the left hand is going to come to the mat. The right fingertips are going to reach to the side. So kind of like you're bringing the right shoulder towards your ear, stretching through the whole right side of the body, pressing that right hip down, lengthening through the arm. And then from here, we're going to start to make circles with that right arm. So as big as it feels comfortable, circle that right arm starting from the shoulder socket, just using your whole range of motion. At whatever speed feels comfortable, take a couple circles one direction, and then going back the other way. And on the next inhale, we're going to lift it back up through center. And as you exhale right over to the other side, the right hand comes to the mat. The left fingertips start to reach towards the right side of the room, stretching through the left side of the body. Roll that shoulder open, looking up under the left arm. And then again, we'll start to make those circles. Left shoulder starts to rotate as you move your arm in giant circles. And back in the opposite direction. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up, reach the arms overhead. As you exhale, hands come to the mat in front of you. As you start to walk the hands away from the body, folding forward. Let the head become heavy as it hangs between the shoulders. Maybe a little rock from side to side if that feels good on the lower back. And then just take a couple breaths here, breathing into the back of the body. Maybe you start to walk the hands a little further away from you. As you exhale, you kind of create some more space in the body and you can fold a little forward. Or maybe it feels good to just stay where you are. So see what feels good. Kind of sending that breath to the back of the body. And then gently starting to walk the hands back towards you as you make your way all the way back up to a seated position. Let the chin release down towards the chest, so you're looking at the mat in front of you. And then just go ahead and take a couple neck rolls at a pace that feels comfortable for you. Go side to side, back and forth, all around. Whatever feels good on your neck, go ahead and do that. And then slowly coming back through center. And we're going to bring the soles of our feet together into a butterfly. So the soles of the feet are together. Interlace your hands under your toes. Take a deep breath in as you lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, start to fold forward, pressing your elbows into your shins. Almost think about bringing your chest towards your feet. So the back is straight and you're kind of just leaning forward a little bit. Same thing as we did when we were folding forward before. Think about that breath as a way to bring you deeper into the pose. Each time you inhale, you're getting a little taller. Each time you exhale, you're folding just a little bit further. And slowly making your way back up through a seated position. Extend the right leg long. The left foot comes into the right inner thigh. Flex the right toes. Turn so that you're facing that right leg. And as you inhale, reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, start to fold over that right leg. Whatever feels good here, do that. So that could be bending the knee. That could be massaging the back of the leg. Maybe you're bringing your hands to the shin or the mat. Just start to allow the upper body to fold over that right leg. And we're going to start to move this pose a little bit. So on the next inhale, you're going to lift up. The left hand is going to come to the mat behind you. You're going to press up through the hips. So kind of like you're in a modified side plank, and the right arm is going to reach behind you. So you're lengthening the whole right side of the body here. You're on your left knee and your right foot. As you exhale, you're going to lower yourself back down into that fold. And we're going to go ahead and do that 2 or 3 more times with your breath. So each time you inhale, the left arm comes back, press the hips up, lengthen through the right side of the body. As you exhale, fold. Letting your breath dictate how fast or how slow you go, just allowing the body to start to move along with the breath. Let's all do that one more time, completing the one that you're on, and then ending back in that forward fold. And on the next inhale, you can start to lift it all the way back up, coming to a seated position. Extend the left leg, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So the left toes flex, turn so that you're kind of facing that left leg, and then inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, folding over that left foot. Maybe you're bending the knee a little bit, maybe you're massaging the calf or the shin. And we'll take a couple of breaths here before starting to move. And then on the next inhale, that right hand can come behind the body. Press the hips up as you come onto the right knee, the left foot, and reach the left arm behind you. Exhale as you find that fold. And then again, 2 or 3 more times with your breath. Inhale, presses it up, lengthens through the left side. Exhale, folds. And then as you come back to that forward fold, you can pause there for a moment. And then we'll all come back to a seated position. You can extend both legs long in front of you, kind of shake them out a little bit, tap the backs of your legs on the mat, and then we'll start to make our way into a tabletop position. So coming onto your hands and knees. The knees are below the hips, the wrists are below the shoulders. Your back starts nice and flat at first. That's where we get that tabletop name. And then we'll start to move through a couple rounds of cat and cow. So as you're inhaling, release the stomach down, take the gaze up. As you exhale, around the back, press the ground away from you. That's that cat portion of the pose. And then go ahead and continue to move with your breath. Maybe you're rocking the hips a little bit, shaking the head a little bit, really just moving in any way that feels good. And the cool thing about doing this at home is if you find something that feels really good and you want to do it a little longer, keep doing it. If you're doing something and it doesn't feel great, switch to something else, because this is your practice, so make it feel good for you. And as you complete the round you're on, start to come back through a neutral spine. Let's extend the right leg, keeping the right toes tucked on the mat. Start to press yourself forwards and backwards, stretching out the back of the leg, the bottom of the right foot. You're kind of using that right foot to sort of press yourself forward and then press the heel back. And then as you come back through center, lift that right leg up, point the toes towards the back of the room so that right leg is parallel to the floor. And then as you inhale, draw the right knee to your nose, round your back, give the knee a kiss. Exhale, extend it long. And then go ahead and move there with your breath a couple more times. Inhale, draw the knee forward. Exhale, extend it long. Round that back like that cat pose, and then lengthen the leg on the exhale. Completing one more, and then you can go ahead and bring that right knee back down to meet the left. We'll extend the left leg, tuck the toes, keeping them on the mat first as you start to press yourself forwards and backwards again, stretching through the bottom of the left foot and the back of the leg. And coming to stillness, that left leg lifts, point the toes behind you, take a breath in, draw the left knee to the nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. Go ahead and do that a couple more times. As you inhale, draw the knee forward. As you exhale, send it back. And then once you complete the round that you're on, you can go ahead and place that left knee back down next to the right, back to your tabletop position. We're gonna tuck our toes, and then we're gonna sit our hips back on our heels. So you're coming to a seated position with the toes and the knees on the mat. You're gonna get a really deep stretch in the backs of your feet. So you're gonna decide if it feels okay, you can come all the way up to a seated position, bringing your hands to heart center. If the bottoms of your feet are screaming right now and this doesn't feel good, keep your hands on the mat and just slowly put as much pressure into the feet as feels comfortable. Maybe you even play around with one hand on the mat at a time or your fingertips. But wherever you are, we're going to breathe into it for about 3 or 4 more breaths. So allowing the backs of the feet to kind of get a little stretch, a little massage. It's good for our feet, even if it doesn't feel that way. And then slowly bringing your hands back to the mat if they're not there already. You can make your way back to your tabletop position. And then let's come into our first downward facing dog. So again, tucking the toes, this time straightening the legs, sending the hips up and back. Go ahead and settle into your downward facing dog in whatever way feels good for you. So you've been here a lot already in your life. You know what a down dog feels like. See what feels good for you today. So that could be pedaling out the heels, bending the knees a little bit, rocking the hips out. It's kind of moving until you start to work out the kinks and feel like you're settling into the pose. On the next inhale, we're going to roll forward into a plank position. So the shoulders are coming over the wrists, the tailbone is tucking, the belly button is kind of pressing up towards the spine. And then we're going to bring the knees down to the mat. Lower yourself all the way onto your stomach. The slower you go, the more of an arm workout you get. And then we're going to press up into a baby cobra. So lifting the upper body up, maybe your hands are pressing into the mat, or maybe you're even lifting your hands up off the mat a little bit and just using that upper body to lift you. Think about pressing something between your shoulder blades. And then slowly pressing your hands back into the mat. We're gonna find a child's pose. So you can lift the hips up and back, coming down onto your heels. Your toes are together, your knees are a little bit apart. Go ahead and settle into your child's pose. We'll take about 3 breaths here. Your hands can stay right where they are, or maybe you change positions, resting your head on the back of your hands or bringing your hands next to your toes. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Take a couple breaths in your child's pose there. If your hands are not at the top of the mat already, go ahead and start to walk your hands out in front of you, and we'll slowly start to make our way back into that downward facing dog. So you can tuck your toes, straighten your legs, send your hips up and back. Maybe you continue to move here a little bit, or maybe you start to find stillness and just settle into this pose, breathe into this pose. On the next inhale, we're gonna come back to our plank position. So shoulders over the wrists again, tailbone tucks, belly button draws up. And then go ahead and bring the knees down, lower yourself all the way down, kind of like a reverse push-up. This time we're gonna come into Sphinx pose, it's called. So your forearms come onto the mat, you're on your elbows and your hands, kind of like you're making an 11 in front of you with your forearms. And you're just gonna start to puff up your chest, almost like you're trying to draw yourself forward, like slide across the floor with your hands. The chest is kind of puffing up. You can even look up towards the sky, really getting a nice opening in the front of the body. You can either stay still if this feels good, or sometimes it feels good just to move here a little bit. So if you want, on the exhale, you can kind of press the upper body away from the ground. So kind of like we do with our cat and cow, you're sort of rounding the shoulders a little bit, looking down as you exhale. And then as you inhale, lifting back up, opening the throat, looking towards the sky. Exhaling, rounding the back. Inhale, lift it up. You can even bend the knees, point the toes towards you as you inhale. Lots of options if that feels good. Or like I said, you could just be staying still. If you're moving, you can start to come back to stillness, and then we're all gonna make our way back to that child's pose. So your hands can come to the mat, press the hips up and back one more time. Hips come to heels, hands, find a comfortable position wherever that is, maybe at the top of your mat, maybe stacked on top of each other. Again, 3 breaths here. Using these resting poses as a chance to come back to your breath. Slow your breath down and notice if you're still present. Sometimes we start to go other places even while we're on our mat. So bring yourself back. And then starting to walk your hands back towards the top of the mat, tucking the toes back to our downward facing dog, straighten the legs, send those hips up and back. We're gonna take the gaze towards your shins or your thighs and just count about 2 or 3 breaths here. So feeling the strength in this pose, you're using your arms, your legs, pretty much every muscle in your body is engaged here. So notice how strong you are for being here. And then go ahead and take your gaze towards your hands. Start to walk your feet up towards the top of the mat, coming to a forward fold. You can take as many steps as you like. Bring your hands to your shins, and as you inhale, lift up halfway, straightening your back. And then as you exhale, fold a little bit deeper. And then on the next inhale, let's come all the way to standing. So slowly coming all the way up, reaching your arms overhead, maybe a little back bend if that feels comfortable. And then we're gonna interlace our hands. Keep your pointer fingers pointing up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, over to the left side. The feet can come together, press the right, or the hips to the right, the hands to the left. Roll that right shoulder back a little bit so you're not leaning forward. Instead, think about opening up through the heart and the chest. And on the next inhale, lift it all the way up. As you exhale, over to the right side, stretching through the left side of the body. Roll that left shoulder open. Try to keep the arms as straight as possible. And then again, inhale takes you back up through center. We're gonna find our cactus arms. So bending the elbows, bringing the hands to either side of you. Bring the hands together with the right elbow on top of the left and the backs of your hands together. If this doesn't feel comfortable, bring your hands to your shoulders and giving yourself a little hug. So choosing whichever shape feels better. Wherever you are, we're gonna take a breath in, kind of lift up the elbows or lift up the arms. And then as you exhale, fold forward, keeping that connection with the hands. So you're pressing either your fingertips or your elbows down towards the mat, creating a nice opening in between the shoulder blades, sort of drawing the shoulders away from each other. You can move from side to side if that feels good. You can bend your knees as much as you like. So straight legs makes any sort of forward fold really intense. So I pretty much always suggest a little bend or a lot of the bend in your legs. You can go ahead and release your hands and then we'll slowly lift it all the way back up, reach the arms overhead, and then let's come right back to those cactus arms, bend the elbows. This time the left arm is gonna come on top of the right. Backs of the hands together, or you can give yourself that little hug, whichever felt better for you. Take a breath in as you lift up through the arms, and then again, as you exhale, fold it forward. Bend in the knees if that feels good. And then maybe a little rock from side to side. Maybe move your head a little bit, shake it yes or no. And then again, releasing the arms and slowly one vertebrae at a time, lift it all the way back up. Another little back bend if it feels good. And then you can bring your hands down to the sides of your body. Let's step to the top of the mat if you're not there already. And we'll find our first warrior one. So the left foot steps all the way back, as far back as it feels comfortable. So your legs are pretty spread apart here, just about opposite ends of your mat. That left foot is at a 45-degree angle. Your hips are facing the top of your mat. Take a breath in to lift the arms. As you exhale, bend into that right knee. So relaxing the shoulders. See if you can keep that right knee right over the ankle. So we don't want the knee bending further than the ankle. You want it to be directly on top of it or as close as you can. We're gonna hold this for 5 breaths. So really nice, slow for 4 more. See if you can bend a little more into that knee for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Go ahead and straighten that front leg. And we're just gonna take it right to the back of the room. So turn the right toes and then turn the left toes. So now you're shifting. The left toes are facing the back of your mat. The right toes are at that 45-degree angle. Your hips are facing the back of your mat. Take a breath in. Exhale, bends you into that left knee. I had to kind of readjust a little bit, so you might too, and that's okay. Pressing down to the outer edge of that back leg. Keep bending into that left leg. Your arms might be getting a little tired, mine are. And we'll hold it for 5 more. 4 more. 3, 2. On 1, go ahead and straighten that left leg. Bring the arms down to the sides of the body, and you can bring your feet back together and kind of shake it out a little bit and let it go. Maybe roll your shoulders a little bit, shake out the wrists. Let's come into our balancing pose. So if you want to come by a wall, go ahead and find a wall. Let's do a tree pose. I think we did tree last week, but I've been in the mood for trees lately, so let's do it again. We're gonna ground down to the left foot. You're gonna bring the right foot to the left inner ankle. Your hands can start at heart center. And then from here, decide where you wanna go with it. If you're good here, stay here. See if you can hold this for maybe 5 or 7 breaths. If you wanna add on, you're gonna start to slide that right foot up the leg, either above or below the knee. Maybe you play around with reaching the arms up or opening them wide. Whatever feels fun for you, do that. This pose is about fun as much as it is about balance. So see what feels good. If you put the foot down, that's fine. Lift it back up and try again. We'll all hold for about 3 more breaths. Let's really pay attention to those breaths. Rather than holding the breath, make sure you're breathing. Slowly starting to bring the hands back to heart center if they're not there already. That right foot can come back down onto the mat. Shake out the standing leg a little bit. Give the left leg a little relief before we start to take it over to the other side. So grounding down through the right foot, the left foot can come to the right inner ankle. Hands come to heart center. Same options. If this feels good, stay right here. If you're adding on, that left foot can start to come up the leg. Or if you're against the wall, the right side of your body is near the wall. So that left leg can bend out. Maybe you're touching the wall, or maybe you just have it there in case you want to kind of press your elbow on it if you need it. Finding whatever variation feels good with your hands. Can also help to find one thing to focus on, one small thing, maybe a light switch in the room or something like that, something that's not moving. And let's slowly start to bring the hands back to heart center. That left foot can come down to the mat. Shake out your standing leg. Let it go. Good. Let's come into a warrior 2. So coming back to the top of your mat if you weren't there, we're going to step the left foot to the back of your mat. This time that left foot is parallel to the back of the mat. So rather than a 45-degree angle, it's parallel to the back. Your right toes are facing the top of your mat. Lift the arms up as you inhale. As you exhale, bend into the right knee. So your hips are facing the left side of your mat this time. Your gaze is over the front right middle finger. And then we're going to move here a little bit. So the legs are going to stay exactly where they are. You're going to try to keep this nice deep bend in the legs. As you inhale, you're going to flip your right palm. Lift that right hand over your head. The left hand can come to that back leg. So this is your inhale. As you exhale, you're going to come forward again. The right elbow is going to come onto the right knee. The left fingertips are going to reach to the front of the mat. Your left shoulder is kind of by your left ear. So that was one rotation. Let's do that a couple more times. Think about kind of blowing in the wind almost. So as you inhale, cartwheel the arms up and back, stretching through the left side, or the right side of the body. As you exhale, that right elbow comes to the right knee, the left fingertips reach to the front of the room. And we'll do it one more time with your breath. So go ahead and move in a way that feels good for you. This is called peaceful warrior when we're leaning back. And then as you exhale, this is called extended side angle. If that felt great and you want more, go ahead and do one more. Otherwise, we'll start to make our way back out of it. You can go ahead and straighten that right knee. Turn your right toes to face the side of your mat so you're facing the left side of your mat. Take a breath in as you lift your arms up. As you exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Move in whatever way feels good for you. So bending the knees, letting the upper body hang like a rag doll if that feels good. Rocking side to side. Just take a couple of breaths here. And then slowly bringing your hands to your thighs. You can press yourself all the way back up. And let's do that again towards the back of the mat. So the left toes face the back of the mat. That right foot is now parallel the front, which is now the back. Take your breath in and you lift the arms up. As you exhale, bend into that left knee. Relax the shoulders. Hips are still facing that same side. Your gaze is over the front left middle finger. The shoulders are relaxed. And then let's start to create that movement again. So as you inhale, the left fingertip, or the left palm flips. Reach that left hand overhead as the right hand comes to the back leg. This is your inhale. As you exhale, that left elbow comes to the left knee. The right fingertips reach past your head. Think about bringing the right shoulder to the right ear. Inhale back up to peaceful warrior. Exhale to your extended side angle, moving at your pace. So you could be going way faster or way slower than me, that's fine. Do what feels good for you. Try to keep the lower body as still as possible as you're just moving through the upper body. Go ahead and do one more if you like. And then once you complete that round, you can go ahead and straighten that left leg again, turn the left toes to face the side, and one more time, let's find a nice big wide-legged fold. So go ahead and fold forward again. Maybe walk your hands far away from you, kind of wide-legged downward dog action. Just kind of letting the upper body become heavy, letting gravity sort of take some of that pressure off the back and the spine and draw the top of the head down a little bit. And then again, go ahead and bring your hands to your thighs, gently starting to press yourself all the way back up. And you can step your feet back together, kind of shake them out a little bit. Let it go, give the legs a little bit of a break. And then we're going to take a couple shoulder rolls. So as you inhale, lift the shoulders up towards the ears. As you exhale, up and roll down the back. Go ahead and do that 2 more times. Inhale, draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, release them down. 1 more time with your breath. Maybe doing a couple in the opposite direction. So lifting them up the back, and then as you exhale, release them forward. Now we're going to take the right arm, reach it across the front of the body. Take your left arm, bend the left elbow, kind of hug that right arm in towards you. So you're kind of using that left arm to hug the right arm towards the body. Getting a nice stretch in that right shoulder. You can rock side to side or kind of move a little bit if that feels comfortable, or just stay still. The idea is that we're starting to stretch that right arm. And then we're going to take the right arm overhead. You're going to bend the right elbow, place the right hand between your shoulder blades. Left hand is going to come to the top of the right elbow. So you're sort of pressing that right elbow down a little bit. Work on relaxing the shoulders here. Think about bringing the ears right between the shoulders. Lifting up through the heart and the chest. If this feels good and you want to stay here a couple more breaths, do that. If you're adding on, you would take the left hand behind the body and start to reach the left fingertips towards the right fingertips. They don't have to touch. You can hold on to the back of your shirt. If you have a tie or a belt or some sort of rope at home, you can hold that in your right hand and then grab it with your left hand. Or you can just press both hands into the back. So they don't have to be touching. The idea is really that you're opening up through the front of the body. So the shoulders are relaxed and you're breathing. You're lifting up through the chest. You're not hunching forward to try to connect the arms. And then slowly go ahead and release the hands. You can kind of roll the shoulders out a little bit. Whatever feels good, let that go. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So the left arm is going to hug in towards the body or across the body. The right arm is going to sort of create that nice little shoulder stretch. Maybe a little side to side rock, back and forth. And then we'll start to take that left arm overhead, bend the left elbow, place the left hand between the shoulder blades. Right hand comes to the top of the left elbow. Just gently resting there. So it's kind of guiding the left elbow down a little bit more, but you don't have to be forcing anything or pulling anything. Just kind of letting that right hand rest there. Relax the shoulders, tuck your tailbone a little bit to help you stand up a little straighter. The spine is nice and long. And then if you want, go ahead and bring that right hand behind the body. This is always just an option though. If that other pose felt better, stay there. If you're bringing the right hand behind your body, start to slide it up the back and see if you can start to bring the fingertips towards each other. But really working on that opening in the front of the body and noticing how both sides feel different, depending if you're right or left-handed or if you've ever broken an arm or had any sort of injuries, you'll probably notice that one side feels a little more accessible than the other. Totally normal. And then gently go ahead and let that go. Again, shake out the arms. Give them a little love. And then finding your way back to the top of the mat if you're not there already. Take a breath in as you lift your arms up overhead. As you exhale, dive it down. Bringing the hands to the mat, we'll step back into our downward facing dog. So go ahead and walk the feet to the back of the mat. Taking about 2 breaths here as you settle in. We're going to start to come into our crescent lunge pose, our Anjaneyasana. So as always, you have the choice to stay in your down dog and step that right foot forward, or come onto your knees if that feels better. So either way, that right foot is going to lift. Point the toes towards the back of the room. Draw the right knee towards your nose, and then step that right foot in between your hands. So if you're coming to your knees in between there, go ahead and do that, and then find that low lunge. Left hand is going to stay down. The right fingertips are going to reach up towards the sky, and you're going to look up towards that right hand. So kind of rolling that right shoulder open a little bit. And then gently placing the right hand back on the mat. Let's come down onto that back knee. So the left knee comes down, untuck the toes. Take a breath as you puff up the chest, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And then as you exhale, straighten that right leg. We're going to go ahead and move here a little bit like we always do. So moving with your breath, as you inhale, you'll come forward, press the hips down, lift up through the upper body. As you exhale, the hips press back, right leg starts to straighten, and you fold over that right leg. Take a couple more rounds here. Maybe you pause in one of these positions and just stay there, taking a couple breaths in stillness. Sometimes that can help you get a little deeper into the stretch. Sometimes moving feels better, so you decide what's best for you right now. The next time we come forward, let's come all the way into our Anjaneyasana. So if it feels good to keep the hands down, stay right there. Otherwise, your hands can come to your knees, or they can reach up towards the sky. Either way, you're looking up. You're lengthening through the front of your body. You're getting a nice deep stretch in that left hip. And then slowly bringing your hands to frame out that right foot. We're going to tuck the left toes, straighten that left leg, and then you're either going to step back to your downward facing dog, or if you don't like that, step back to your tabletop. And we'll start to make our way onto the other side. So on the next inhale, the left leg is going to lift. Point the toes towards the back of the room. Draw the left knee towards your nose, and then go ahead and step that left foot in between your hands. The right hand stays down. As you exhale, the left arm starts to lift up. And taking your gaze up towards the left fingertips, roll that left shoulder open and back. And then slowly starting to bring that left hand back down to the mat. The right knee comes down, untuck those toes, take a breath in as you press the hips down, lifting up through the upper body, and then start to find that flow again. So as you exhale, send the hips back, straighten that left leg, fold over the left leg, and then go ahead and keep moving just like that. So taking a couple rocks forwards and backwards, or finding one position and staying still if that feels good. So taking a couple more rounds here. And the next time you come forward, we'll start to make our way into our Anjaneyasana. So pressing the hips down, hands can come to that left knee, or they can reach all the way up towards the sky. Relax the shoulders, take the gaze up towards the hands. Smile a little bit. And then slowly bringing your hands down to frame out that left foot. Let's tuck the right toes, straighten the leg. One last time, step it back to your downward facing dog, or come to a tabletop and then come to your down dog. We'll all end in our down dog. So however you get there is fine, but let's take one final downward facing dog, one final breath here. And then we're all gonna start to make our way into a seated position. So slowly lowering yourself down onto your mat, extending your legs out long in front of you so your feet are coming to the top of your mat. Okay. Usually we do our pigeon pose lying on our stomachs. We're gonna do it seated today. So same stretch, same pose, just a different way of getting into it. So you're gonna take your right foot, your hands can kind of be at the sides of your body. You're gonna take your right foot, place it on the left knee, flex through the bottom of that right foot. So kind of like you're making a figure four shape that's away from you. So an upside down figure four. You're gonna sit up nice and tall. If you're feeling this in your hips already, you're gonna stay right here and this is enough. If you're not feeling it yet, the left foot is gonna step onto the floor. So place that left foot on the floor, you're bending the left knee a little bit. That's gonna start to elevate the right foot. If you still have a little more space, that left foot can continue to walk towards the body, or maybe you kind of shift your hips towards the left foot. Eventually you'll feel your stopping point. Your hip will say, yep, that's good. I'm good here. You want to make sure that you keep your back nice and straight. We're just going to take about 3 or 4 breaths here. See if you can start to slow the breath down a little bit. Maybe even closing your eyes if that feels good. And also rock your hips from side to side or your knees from side to side a little bit, just gently. That movement feels good. And then slowly starting to slide that left foot back down onto the mat if you had it, if the knee was bent. Extend the right leg long. You can shake out both legs a little bit, tapping the backs of the legs on the mat. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So go ahead and bring the left foot to the top of the right knee. Flex through that left foot so the left foot is really active, it's engaged. Your hands are at the sides of your body, pressing into your mat. Your spine is nice and straight. And then maybe you bend that right knee, pressing the right foot into the mat. Or maybe you just keep the leg straight on the ground, whichever feels better. If you have the knee bent, you can start to walk the foot towards you, walk the hips towards the foot, until you find that spot that gives you a nice stretch, but not too far. So you want to feel a stretch in that left hip, but you don't want any pain in your knee or anything sharp or unbearable. That's not what we want. Maybe taking that 4-count breath, inhaling for the count of 4, exhaling for the count of 4. And slowly letting that right leg slide back down onto the mat if it wasn't already. The left leg can join it. Tap the backs of the legs one more time. Maybe wiggle your feet from side to side. That kind of frees the hips a little bit. And then we're going to start to take it all the way down. So if your feet are at the top of your mat, you can slowly start to lower yourself all the way back onto your back. Take a nice big full body stretch. Nice big inhale through the nose. As you exhale, out through the mouth, make it really audible. If you're letting everything go, a nice big sigh. You can bring the hands to the sides of the body, and we're gonna do our bridge pose. So bending the knees, bring the feet to the base of the spine. On the next inhale, you can start to press the hips up towards the ceiling, either continuing to press the hands into the mat or start to shimmy the shoulders under the body a little bit, and then interlace the hands under the tailbone. So see what feels better. It's a little deeper if you have the hands under the body. If that doesn't feel good, just keep pressing the hands into the mat. Either way, you're getting that nice bend in the back. Keep pressing those hips up, engaging through the thighs, through the knees.
And let's take about 2 or 3 more breaths. Really breathing into the stomach. See if you can get the stomach to move a little bit. It's a little harder in this pose. To take that breath in and have the stomach expand, and exhale, have it contract. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, start to peel the spine back down onto the mat. Once your tailbone touches, you can let your knees rock from side to side, kind of stretching out the spine a little bit. And then let's draw the knees back in towards us, wrapping your arms around your shins as you give yourself a little hug. You can continue that side to side rock, or maybe making some little circles with the knees, whatever feels comfortable. And then before we come into Shavasana, let's just find one last little twist. So the arms can come to the sides of the body, the knees can release over to the right. Relax the shoulders, maybe you turn your head to the left, so you're looking in the opposite direction of your knees. And the eyes can start to close. The breath can start to slow down a little bit. And then gently starting to draw the knees back through center, taking it over to the left side so the knees release to the left. You can turn your head to the right. Letting the shoulders relax. Maybe even bringing your hand to that right thigh and kind of giving a little massage or a little love. And then on the next inhale, starting to draw the knees back through center. And then making your way into your final pose of the evening, whatever that's going to look like for you. So that could be extending the legs long, that could be coming onto your side. Maybe you're grabbing a sip of water or a towel or a sweater or something you might need to feel really comfortable, a blanket or a pillow, whatever's going to allow you to completely relax into your Shavasana. Go ahead and do that. Or maybe there's one final stretch or pose that you need. So go ahead and take your time to settle yourself in. And then starting to let the eyes close if they're not there already. Starting to relax through the shoulders. So feeling the shoulders release away from the ears, the tension kind of dissolving in the back of the neck. Relaxing through the jaw. Taking a moment now to just gently scan the body, noticing how you're feeling compared to when you first came to your mat. Noticing if you're feeling a little more calm, a little more quiet. As you start to settle into your Shavasana.
Slowly starting to deepen your breath. Slowly starting to move your fingers and your toes as you gently wake your body up in whatever way feels good for you. Maybe that's a giant stretch or a big hug as you wrap your arms around your legs. And turn over onto one side if you're lying down and it feels comfortable. Bending the knees, resting your head on your arm. Or just staying right where you are. Taking one final moment to acknowledge that feeling of peace and calmness that you created here on your mat in your little bubble. Let that feeling settle right into the center of your body, into your heart, so that when you get up and leave your yoga mat bubble, you can still have that feeling right there inside of you, carrying it out with you into the rest of your day. It's like a protective shield. When you're ready, you can slowly start to make your way back up to a seated position, keeping your eyes closed as you bring your hands to heart center. I'm so grateful for all of you for joining me tonight. I hope you have the most beautiful evening, great weekend, and I'll see you all again next week. Namaste. Bye, guys.